let's transition into the advocacy piece, Brent, because
Yeah.
one thing that I always say on the podcast, Rob, is when you're talking about disability advocacy, it's not very sexy.
No.
So like it's hard to make advocacy sexy when you're talking about
Mm.
disability, right?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to start with the um, the Charlie Pollock story
Mm.
because
Hmm.
I was really impressed how it was yourself and a couple other really passionate people that really locked onto that story
Oh yeah.
and really gave it legs. And of course, you have to really applaud the mother first and foremost.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
because
For
it
sure.
takes a lot of courage to like put yourself out there and just kind of spill your guts, right? But but I was really impressed with the way you covered the story and
Hmm.
um, yeah. And so
Absolutely.
I just wanted to kind of start with that saying, it's not a sexy thing, but like when you see certain media people pick that up, it's like, go, go, go. Yeah. So,
It was it's interesting when you because in some ways it was an easier story to tell than say a story about raising the disability rate or the social assistance rate because it's about one person
mhm.
and you can see them and here's their story and Charlie's mother Jory was a fantastic advocate and eloquent advocate for her and also um a feeling of kind of I think injustice on her part that something that a medicine that she had from the government for years that her physician her doctor said she should continue that government was for its own arbitrary decisions deciding to take away and that
Mhm.
experts in that field didn't agree with that
Hmm.
decision. They didn't think government made the right decision. And it was so I've transitioned over the years um, into a kind of columnist, analyst type of thing, which I hope provides more value than just uh, you know, he said, she said, government said, opposition said,
Yeah.
because I've been doing it long enough now, 17 years, that I can
Mhm.
I can kind of cut through it, I think. And so I have the freedom in the story, like with Charlie, in some of the things that I did, in columns, especially, to just say, um, that's not good enough from government. Like the explanations don't make sense. The
Mhm.
argument is weak. The government should do more in this case. And I think it sort of became kind of a story about the values of government, and the humanity of government. Here's a girl who has a terminal illness.
Yeah.
She is not going to recover. This drug, her doctor says, will give her a more peaceful and dignified decline in her final, probably 2 years, under 2 years.
Hmm.
Um, the government, using its metrics, doesn't think that it's worth it. But what is the value of compassion? And
Exactly.
where is the soul of this government? It was where I kind of took it.
Yeah.
And so I was lucky to be able to have the freedom to kind of write that because I think it's there are when you're doing pure journalism reporting, which I
Hmm.
did for many, many years, you sort of need to kind of like parcel it out and when you
Mhm.
do sort of more column writing, you can kind of take a position. And my position was, this is the price you pay to live in a society where you have compassion. And that is the only girl with this rare disease whose doctor says she should have this medicine, who she's been on it for a while, who would become the first child in Canada to ever be discontinued this way, is not a decision that government um, should make based on some
Mhm.
abstract spreadsheet from the experts. They have this little panel of secretive anonymous
Yeah,
doctors who,
that's the
Yeah, I
thing that
saw
really
that.
bothered
yeah,
me. It was
yeah,
like everything was so anonymous, and then you had the health minister and Ravi Pamar. They were both, well, Ravi Pamar was saying like, I'm reaching out to the mother, I've been there since the
yeah,
beginning, and
Yeah, from day one.
and the
no,
Yeah,
mother comes out on Twitter says, no, no, you
no,
weren't.
yeah,
And
no,
and the health minister Osborne, she's like, I'm turning over every stone. It's like, no, you're not.
yeah,
So it's just,
yeah.
it's
yeah.
it is a you can see what government's trying to say, which is politicians shouldn't be deciding who gets what medicine,
Mhm.
on a very on an individual basis. They shouldn't have the ability to roll in and pick you, Brent, and say, we are going to do X, Y, and Z for just you and nobody else in the
Yeah,
province, a
exactly.
Mhm.
politician, because otherwise Horgan,
Yeah.
it's not the right system. And so government's argument was we put this panel of doctors in and they decide who
Mhm.
gets drugs. And that may be fine for diseases where the evidence is settled, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and things where the world is studying it. There's a lot of evidence, there's a lot of expertise. This is
Mhm.
there's like one of the only people in Canada and the only person in BC with Batten's disease was this girl. And none
Mhm.
of the people on that panel were Batten disease experts. And
Yeah.
the experts internationally were saying something else. And the government got caught in this position where none of the experts wanted to talk. None of the experts wanted their names attached. None of the
Mhm.
experts would defend their decision.
Mhm.
But we have a system of accountability where
Yeah.
you spend public money and you make public decisions and you're accountable for them. And you cannot just turn over all of that to a
Mhm.
panel of experts. You just can't. You
Yeah.
can't. You can take their recommendations. You
Mhm.
can ask them for the best advice, but you as the government are make decisions. And if the public doesn't agree with them, then
Mhm.
you are voted out or voted
Mhm.
in. That's the principle. And so I think the system needs to be tweaked in rare diseases. Yes, you have to have experts, but at the end of the day, it's public money and policy decisions, and the minister has to be accountable for them. And the government got caught in this passing the buck kind of
Mhm.
thing, like,
Yeah.
and I think that
They
was
kind
part
of
of the story
deflected
too.
away. Yeah.